What's up, kings and queens? Thank you for joining me in another video on how to win at chess. Today, we are going to be talking about how to protect your king, the third and final principle of chess. Now, if you haven't watched the other two videos, controlling the center and developing and activating your pieces, I highly suggest watching those other two principles of chess videos so that way you have all the ingredients to start winning your games. Okay, now before we jump in, I do want to make an announcement, a giveaway announcement that I've been doing on Kick and Twitch on live streams that I am now bringing over to YouTube. Kings and queens, your video probably looks like this, with me on my video on my channel with a like button and subscriber button right next to my name. Now, that subscriber button's around 258 as of this recording. However, every time that goes up to the next 100, so in this case 300, I will be giving away a 1-month free subscription to chess.com's Diamond membership. See, I'm already on the screen itching to give one away. So go ahead, learn about that third principle of chess, learn about how you can be eligible to win a diamond membership. And with that being said, let's jump right in to our lesson. Okay, so if you've made it this far, then you know we're going to be talking about how to protect your king in a game of chess. Now, a lot of players already kind of know the reason why we need to protect our king. However, for those of you out there that are brand new to chess, may not understand the concept, let me kind of explain it to you. Okay, so in a game of chess, the goal of the game is to win. In order to win, you need to checkmate your opponent like this, okay? You need to checkmate your opponent like this, or you can checkmate your opponent like this, how I got checkmated in this last game, okay? Now, in order to not get checkmated, you need to protect your king, okay? And that's what we're gonna go over today. In our first part, we're gonna be talking about how to castle your king. Now, castling is in the middle and openings are the easiest options for players to protect their king, okay? You can either protect it short castling or king side castling, whichever you prefer, or you can protect your king by long castling or queen side castling, again, whichever name you prefer, okay? Now, there are some of you out there that may be a little confused on why you would need to castle your king to be able to protect your king, okay? And let me explain that to you right here. On this screen here, let's say I'm black, our opponent here is white, okay? If you've watched our first two principles, controlling the center and activating your pieces, then this is gonna be making, or this will make a lot of sense to you, okay? So obviously the first two principles, activating your pieces, controlling the center of the board, okay? Same thing for what we have here, okay? Activating your pieces and controlling the center of the board. Now, obviously, our opponent's gonna want to do the same thing, activate and control the center of the board, okay? So all of the action, all of the attacking, all the defending is gonna be in the center of that board, as you can see here. And with all that action going on, we don't want our king to be vulnerable or in the middle of an attack, okay? So the best way to prevent your king from being in that attack is to castle, okay? It gets it off to the side, gets it in the corner, protected by pieces and pawns, okay? And allows you to attack and defend the center of the board without having to worry about your king. Now, it also allows us to do our second principle, which is activate our pieces by connecting our two rooks together, okay? Rook was kind of hanging out in the corner before, and now it's not. ready to join the fight of the center on the next turn. Okay, so we talked about how to castle your king and protect it during the opening and the middle games. However, a lot of beginner chess players, up to intermediates, sometimes forget that protecting your king is vital for the entire game. Okay, as you can see here, I have a game between me and this Sudanian player. Okay, I took a pawn, targeting this pawn. He moved his rook over. Okay, here, his rook move really doesn't do much for his position. Okay, because I can easily take his pawn. If he takes back with his rook, I slide my queen up, which is what I do, and give him a checkmate on the back rank, what we call a back rank checkmate. Okay, so protecting your king is vital, not only in the opening and in the middle game, because this individual castled, but also during the end game. And back rank checkmates may not be as easy to spot as this one was for me. Some back rank checkmates may look like this, or potentially look like this. Okay, our opponent here makes a deadly mistake by moving his queen to h4. This allows me to activate my pieces and initiate, hopefully, a back rank checkmate. I take his pawn with my bishop. He takes back with the rook. I take back with the queen. He didn't want to lose his rook, so he took back. And he still doesn't want to lose his rook, but he's also in check. But he knows that this bishop protects his rook. So in order to get out of the check, he moves his king over. Instead of moving it over to f1, he moves it over to h1, which is a mistake. Because in this position, I'm able to sacrifice my queen. He takes back with the bishop, which he has to. And I'm able to initiate a back rank checkmate after my opponent's only move is to block with his queen. Okay, now to avoid back rank checkmates, I highly suggest players, either in the middle game or the end game, create a nook for your king. Okay, as you can see here, if it was white's turn, he would have a back rank checkmate. Okay, so what I would want to do here as black is to create a small nook. This allows my king, if the white rook comes down, to get protected behind my pawns. Now, this is a very simple setup. You're going to see more complex games with more pieces and pawns on the board than this, but it allows for you to visualize a way for you to protect your king against a back rank checkmate like we see here. As you've seen, castling in the opening and the middle game, and as you're going to see right now, the end game is going to be vital in protecting your king. Okay, as you can see here, black is one move away, queen to a1, from checkmating white on the back rank. So let's combine the two parts of our lesson so far. And white's going to castle short, protected by 1, 2, 3, 4 pawns, a rook, and its queen. Getting out of the center of the board, activating its rook, and protecting from back rank checkmate. White did great here in protecting its king and castling. However, a mistake that a lot of beginners and intermediate players make is copying their opponents. And in this position, black really can't move its queen, because if he does, then white's going to be able to come to this square and either checkmate soon or at least take the rook in the next two moves. So black here wants to be able to move its queen, but he also wants to avoid back rank checkmate. So black castles. Seems logical, right? However, the mistake is made when players like this do what I call castling on autopilot. Because, yeah, your opponent castled, oh, I'm going to do the same thing, castle, protect my king. However, you fail to realize that white has checkmate because you castled. So, a lot of the times, castling on autopilot or castling into danger is more hurtful than beneficial, okay? In a case like this, where I have a game, I'm black, white has targets on this pawn, okay? I go ahead and castle. Now, it is protected by this knight here. However, as the game goes on, I forget that this knight is the only piece protecting this square. White takes, I take back, and white checkmates me. Now, this could have been avoided by me not castling into danger, not castling into two heavy machine guns that you see here, in the queen and the rook. Could have been avoided, but that's the reason why I'm mentioning it to you, is avoiding checkmates on autopilot, castling on autopilots or castling into danger will help you protect your king better than what you thought castling would have done. So we've learned the importance of protecting your king to avoid checkmate. We've learned that castling is one of the easiest ways to do so, either in the opening, middle, even the end game. Also, in that end game, in that middle game, protecting your king from back rate checkmates, either with a castle or a nook, or being able to checkmate your opponent before he checkmates you. Okay? Now, one last quick bonus lesson that I want to add to this lesson is how to attack your opponent who does not castle or is forced to keep their king in the center of the board. Okay? Now, game that I played, I think a couple weeks ago, it may have been yesterday. Actually, it may have been this morning, actually. I played a Italian Russo Gambit. Black tried to, at least. And my opponent went knight to f6. In this position, I looked at it, all my pieces, this was protected, and I could easily come in and back out, giving my opponent a check without losing my piece, forcing him to not be able to castle, which is exactly what I did. So I forced him to come back down, and I moved the bishop right back. He can no longer castle, okay? It's going to be difficult to activate his rooks. His king is stuck in the center of the board, okay? Now, in this position, he makes some moves to kick my knight out. I take his knight, and let's kind of just fast forward a little bit to the middle game here. I take his pawn. He can't take back because that'll be a check and a skewer. So he keeps his king back in the middle of the board again. I take his knight. He takes back. I protect and kind of shuffle pieces and try to activate my pieces up until I really start launching an attack down the center of the board with my rooks and my queen and my bishop. Okay? Now, his king is still in the center of the board. He has no attack on my king, even though he's trying. Okay? And this simple pawn move allows me to not only target his rook, but also target checkmate. So he's got to protect from the checkmate, because it doesn't matter if you have a rook or not if you lose the game. He pushes his pawn up, and here I simply target his king that's stuck in the center of the board and deliver checkmate in 3 more moves. That's the power of being able to attack your opponent who leaves their king in the middle of the board or you force their king to stay in the center of the board. Okay. Well, that's it for today's video on the importance of protecting your king, how to do so properly, and a quick bonus lesson on attacking your opponent's king in the center of the board. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button for me. Also, hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And you will also be eligible to win a free month of chess.com's Diamond membership. Okay. Now, besides subscribing, I also want you to do one last thing for me. Any video on my channel, doesn't have to be this one, could be any video, any short, any long-term video. Go ahead and comment your chess.com username. Okay. Because I got to make sure that you have a chess.com account to be able to give you the membership. So on this video, if it's easiest, or any other videos that you watch under my channel, go ahead, type in and comment your chess.com username. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and you are now eligible to win a month's subscription to chess.com's Diamond membership once we get to 300 subscribers. Now, for those of you watching this in the far future, well beyond the mark where we get to 300, don't feel like you've been left out, because for every 100 subscribers we get until we get to 1,000, I'm going to change it up once we get past 1,000, but up to 1,000 for every 100 subscribers, I will be doing this same giveaway. Now, same rules apply. Find a video of mine, type in and comment your chess.com username, subscribe to the channel, and you will be eligible for that membership. All right. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a lucky and a above average rest of your day. I'm out. Doses.